on to our next conspiracy. A lot of people think Area 51 is the headquarters of the secret one world government. So out of the four we've talked about, I think this one is, at least a little more based in reality. Yeah. People believe that Area 51 is a convenient place to pull all the threads of a one world government. So it's remote, it's highly top secret. And that's why a lot of people speculate that the test range is the logical place for the location of the Majestic 12. And if you buy into the narrative laid out by an anonymous author on the conspiracy site educateyourself.org, a secret government committee that has been laboring in the shadows for more than 6 decades to work out an arrangement for a one world government in which the planet would jointly be ruled by human and extraterrestrial elites. And this is interesting. I always go back to the X-Files because I grew up watching that show. Mm-hmm. But throughout the X-Files, you have the undertones of kind of a one world government. These guys, in a dark room smoking cigarettes, kind of pulling the strings of everything. Yeah. And there's different representatives from all the big countries, and they're working alongside aliens to eventually, take over the world. And I think in the X-Files, they were trying to help the aliens take over humans, but at the same time developing a vaccine that would kill the aliens. So, an interesting theory. They go on to say the Majestic 12 supposedly started as a blue ribbon panel of scientists and military leaders created by President Harry Truman in 1947, shortly after the crash of an alien spacecraft near Roswell, New Mexico. As the story goes, the Majestic 12 somehow eventually made contact with the aliens and brokered a meeting between them and President Dwight Eisenhower that in turn resulted in a deal with which the U.S. government got extraterrestrial technology in exchange for looking the other way when UFO crews mutilated cattle and abducted humans to conduct weird experiments on them.
So this is where you see that mix of what's plausible, and then there's always like a sprinkling of, okay, that sounds crazy. Now, was it Eisenhower or Nixon that was reportedly like picked up somebody and like drove there by themselves in like a Cadillac? There's this story. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
There's a story of a U.S. president that like was in Vegas with Secret Service, and it was like a colonel in the military. And the story goes that like they ditched Secret Service and was in this black Cadillac, or a black Cadillac came to pick up this colonel, and the colonel said like, "Oh, I knew I was being picked up to go to the secret meeting," but he like walked up the car and it was Nixon driving. And
I think it was Nixon. Yeah. If we're wrong, I apologize. Yeah. It was either Nixon or Eisenhower.
Yeah. And basically they like went to the base, and the colonel talks about how, and I could be getting all the people wrong. It could have been like just a contractor or whatever. Just ignore that. But it was a president and a guy, and they needed to go there, and he wanted to show him that. And the story goes that they pulled up to the gate, and the MP guarding the gate like couldn't believe it was the president of the United States, and they just kind of like let him through. And that was the first time they were exposed to this secret area and aliens and all that other stuff. So there's some really cool stuff that's like you kind of hope you don't find out if it's not real, because it's neat to think about like this is happening, but then it's also like it's really scary that it's happening.
Yeah. No, I do remember hearing that story somewhere. I honestly can't remember the details, but it was either, Eisenhower or Nixon. Okay. I know it was a president though. I remember this story.
While you're going through, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to be Jamie. Okay. I'm your Jamie for Joe Rogan.
All right, good.